Now that we're finally at the end of 2016, it's time to do a few things, and one of those is look into the next year. 2017 is already shaping up to be a massive year for film, not only in blockbusters, but original concepts as well. So, without further ado, let's get right into my top 10 most anticipated films of 2017. At number 10 is Wonder Woman. This is DC's real final straw. Justice League is not on here for me. I don't think it looks good. I'm not excited for it. I don't think it will be good. I have lost faith in Zack Snyder. And this is just, it needs to be good. And what's nice about it is it looks good. I really like the trailer. It looks funny. It has that just sigh of comic relief that DC has been grasping for. Patty Jenkins is directing this movie, who has previously helmed Monster, which is another film that has a strong female protagonist. This time we have Wonder Woman, which I believe was one of the few shining lights of Batman v Superman. Chris Pine looks like he's going to be doing Chris Pine, which is kind of exactly what I want to see him be doing in blockbuster movies. We know he's a great actor. We saw it in Hell or High Water, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have Chris Pine every now and then. The witty, funny, just likable guy. And his chemistry with Gal Gadot is already looking great. This movie looks action-packed. It looks funny, like I've said. It looks dramatic. It looks like it's going to be a really interesting origin and period piece. All of these things make me very excited, and just please. It needs to be good. It needs to be good. I want DC to succeed. Please just let it be good. My number 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. I like some of their movies, and I recognize what they've done as a franchise and setting up a cinematic universe. I think it's a very big achievement, and it really has been a cornerstone for superhero movies, which has become a very large part of cinema nowadays. But I'm not a huge fan of their films. I enjoy a few of them, but I found the majority of them to be relatively disappointing and not up to par with quality filmmaking. But Guardians of the Galaxy is one such exception. It was a total just going a completely different direction, and I loved that. I thought James Gunn did a great job with the first movie, and since that release, I've obviously been excited for the second one, and it looks like they're sticking to their guns. This trailer looks great. It's bringing back all the same things that I would have wanted. It's adding some more cast members that I'm very excited about. We've got our Chris Pratt, you've got your Zoe Saldana, you've got your Dave Bautista, you've got your Bradley Cooper, you've got your Vin Diesel, and the fact that they've already become such recognizable faces in film is really saying something about the idea of this new movie. It looks funny. It's similar to a lot of movies that I've seen, that it knows what it needs to be. It knows it's wacky. It knows it's out there. It knows it's crazy. And it knows it's something just out of the box of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if they continue with that, and they can make me smile and can make me laugh and see some pretty badass sci-fi action sequences, which I thought was the one flaw of the first movie. I thought the action sequences were relatively generic and by the books. I think if they can really change that this time around, which from the trailers at least it looks like they're going to do, this could be huge. This could really get people excited for the next Marvel movies like Infinity War, when the Guardians of the Galaxy are actually going to be joining with the Avengers. I'm very excited for this movie, and I hope it pans out. Number 8 is another Marvel movie, SpiderMan Homecoming. This is a lot higher on people's list, but it's a little lower on mine because I have reasons to be skeptical, but also reasons to be pumped as shit. For one, I believe one of the best parts of Captain America Civil War was actually Spider-Man. I thought the best scene in the movie is when Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland are talking in Spider-Man's bedroom, and the fact that we're going to be seeing more of that chemistry between Iron Man and Spider-Man in this movie is a really cool thought to me. I'm very, very excited to be seeing this new version of Spider-Man, considering I think it's the best one we've seen yet. I thought Tobey Maguire was really good as Peter Parker, but a bad Spider-Man, and I thought Andrew Garfield was a solid Spider-Man, but a bad Peter Parker. And from what we've seen already from this kid, it's looking like he's a very solid mix of both. And we're also not going to see an origin story, which is fucking awesome. I don't want to see any more origin. I know he gets bitten by a spider. I know that's what happens. Don't show it to me again. It's like they keep showing Batman's parents getting shot. I know that happens. Stop showing it to me. I don't need to see it. And I'm very glad that Marvel is going ballsy and they're going to say, we're not going to show it to you this time. We trust you as an audience to know that. From the trailer that was dropped, it looks funny, it looks witty, it looks cool, it looks action-packed. The director took on, I don't remember his name, he did Cop Car with Kevin Bacon, which I haven't seen. I've heard relatively solid things about, so I'm looking forward to this movie. Michael Keaton is the villain, which is awesome. I love me some Michael Keaton. I love the fact that he's been back in action recently, and he's finally hopping back in action, literally, I mean action, the genre. So I'm very excited for Spider-Man Homecoming and to see how it turns out. My number 7 is Blade Runner 2049. I'm a big fan of the original Blade Runner. I love it. I think it's one of the best, not only sci-fi movies, but movies of the 80s, and that was very early 80s, I believe 82. It's a different, smart science fiction film with Harrison Ford and a great performance, and Ridley Scott really showing off what he could do as a director. So I was skeptical when it was first announced there was going to be a sequel, as per usual. I was just kind of glad it wasn't a remake, but I was still worried a little bit on whether or not this could end up shaping up, but the news and information on this thing has had me reach a new level of excitement. Denis Villeneuve is going to be directing this, who has really yet to let us down in American filmmaking with Prisoners, An Enemy, and Sicario, and now Arrival. He's shown us now science fiction, and that he can do it, and that he can do it extremely well. That gives me a lot of hope. This has a star-studded cast with 2 leads of Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford coming back as this character who in the trailer looks great. It looks like he's going to be doing the same thing he did in the first one, which is honestly exactly what we want to see from him, and I think he's going to add a whole nother layer to his character. Ridley Scott is still a big part of this movie. I believe he's producing it, and it's his first writing credit since I think 1965. I'm very excited for this movie. It looks great, and I'm just pumped. My number 6 is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I believe that Kingsman: The Secret Service was one of the best movies of 2015, and I believe I mentioned this in my top 10 of 2016. Kingsman is just a movie that knows exactly what it is and how ridiculous it is and just out of the world it is, and movies that can own up to itself like that, those end up being the powerhouses. Those end up being the most funny and the most action-packed, and it can be the most dramatic. We're seeing a lot of the original cast return. Taron Egerton, who has just launched to new heights. Probably Colin Firth coming back, which is great. Jeff Bridges is going to be in this. I think Channing Tatum is going to show up. Not a fan of his, but this is, I mean, a perfect movie for him, like the Jump Street movies. I mean, Channing Tatum being in this is a very good sign. Matthew Vaughn is an amazing director. He really does, he's another one that I keep saying this, he has yet to let us down with X-Men First Class and the first Kingsman, and he did Layer Cake and Kick-Ass and Stardust. He's a great director who just owns up to what he's doing. Kick-Ass is another example of that. And as long as they do what they did in the first one and just say screw the origin, we're getting right into the meat of this story. We're going to see a great sequel that's going to be a breath of fresh air from superhero movies, and just everything from this year. It's going to be a sigh of relief, and I'm super excited to have that. My number 5 pick is Logan. A couple months ago, this wouldn't have even been on my list. James Mangold took on the Wolverine, which I hate. I think it's the worst X-Men movie, and I genuinely had trouble getting through that film. But then the trailer came out. Anything that gives me some Johnny Cash, I'll take me some Johnny Cash. Simply put, this movie looks great. It's gonna be R-rated, which Fox should absolutely be doing, especially after the success of Deadpool. It's going to be a new, I keep saying this, and I know I sound like a broken record, it's a new direction for the franchise. We're gonna see Logan, and we're gonna see Wolverine at its absolute core, as a gritty, as a violent, and as a vulgar film. That's what fans have wanted to see, and I'm no comic book reader, but I am a fan of the series in general. And seeing Hugh Jackman one last time as this character, I think it's perfect that they're going to go with that route and just say, you know what? We're done just thinking about money. We're going to make a quality film, and it looks great. I'm really excited. It even looks more like a drama than it does an action, but it looks like an excellent drama, and it's gonna have awesome action. That shot at the end of the Red Band trailer, you guys know what I'm talking about. This movie looks great. It has all the means to be great. James Mangold, I really hope he comes through. He's done really good stuff in the past. I really like Walk the Line. So I'm excited for this movie. I'm pumped, and I can't wait to sit in the theater and watch it. My number 4 pick is Kong, Skull Island. I probably should have learned my lesson putting these kinds of monster movies this high on my list. Godzilla was one of my most anticipated movies of 2014. We know how that turned out. It didn't go well. And I'm really, really pulling for this movie. It looks great. Just the direction of it looks so beautiful. It looks like it's just gonna be a spectacle to see on the screen, and the cast in this is packed. Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston are going to be taking one side of the film, and Sam Jackson and John Goodman another. And if those 4 names aren't enough to get you excited for one movie, realize that King Kong is throwing fucking palm trees through helicopters in this movie. Because that's happening. I can't wait for it to come out. It's coming out in March, I believe. We don't even have to wait that long. It's just gonna be badass, and I can't wait for that. At number 3 is War for the Planet of the Apes. I believe that the 2 Planet of the Apes films that have come out are some of the best remakes we've seen ever. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was excellent. Any movie that can make me like James Franco is obviously doing its job correctly. It was a breath of fresh air for the series. The series had not gone well. Yeah, the original Planet of the Apes in '68 is great, but then they had like 5 that aren't very good, and the Tim Burton piece of dog shit. So when they announced another one, a lot of people were, oh, why are we doing this? And then it was great. And not only that, we followed it up with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which could even be contested as that much better. It was taken on by Matt Reeves, who is coming back for this one. And I think what's interesting with it is it has like almost a James Bond or with the director Mission Impossible type feel, where it's switching its lead actor each movie. We're getting a different taste of characters in these films, and that's always cool to have, like a little just different experience feeling for a character. In the first one we had James Franco, in the second one we had Jason Clarke, and this time we get Woody Harrelson, who has absolutely proven himself as one of the most charismatic people in Hollywood, but it looks like he's going with a bit of a darker route in this film, and I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see his interactions with not only the people in this film, but the apes. Matt Reeves did not let us down with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He did not let us down with Cloverfield. I'm very excited to see this movie. I think it's going to be just a really nice, great entry into the series. Andy Serkis back as Caesar, and I really hope this isn't the end of this, because it's gonna be a war film with apes and people. And I'm psyched for that. I'm really psyched for that. And number 2 is Star Wars Episode 8. Not fully titled, and you have no idea, my OCD kills me having an actual list that there's no name. Ooh, it kills me. I'm much more excited for this than I was for Rogue One, and I have a couple of different reasons for that. But first of all, and foremost, I believe that this can be the Empire Strikes Back of the new trilogy, because they've gotten the opening out of the way. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, criticism of The Force Awakens was its just blaring similarities to A New Hope. And they're absolutely there. The biggest fan of this movie can't deny that. They're just sitting there. And it's so plainly obvious. I liked The Force Awakens. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. This movie has the potential to be great. It's gotten that out of the way, and now it can be its own original story. Now they can get into original Star Wars territory, and I think they have the perfect crew to do that. Rian Johnson is directing this movie, and I don't think a lot of people know who he is. He directed Brick back in 2005, which is a very underseen movie. It is a great movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's also taken on a couple episodes of Breaking Bad, one of which is not only considered to be the best episode in Breaking Bad, but one of the best episodes of television history ever. He is a great character director, and what these new characters need right now is development. We have a lot of questions about lots of these characters, like Rey. We still have some even about Kylo Ren, and I think they've picked the perfect team to expand on those. And also, guys, it's Star Wars. If you're not excited for this movie, you either just don't like Star Wars or you're a liar. I think this movie is going to be great. I'm super stoked for it. And I wish it was coming out in May still, but if they need that extra time to make it better, then go for it, please. And my number one is a bit of an unconventional pick. It's Dunkirk. Dunkirk is Christopher Nolan's newest bout, and that's really why I'm that excited for it. Christopher Nolan is arguably the reason I got into filmmaking. I believe he has yet to make a bad movie. I think he has an absolute clean streak. I know a lot of people don't like Interstellar, and a lot of people don't like The Dark Knight Rises. Believe me, I have my problems with those movies. There are certainly issues with it. For instance, Batman's broken back is cured by punching it. Yeah, okay, that's not accurate, but I believe they're both still great movies. And him doing a World War II film is so interesting to me, and the fact that it looks great, and it has an amazing cast with Kenneth Branagh and Mark Rylance and Tom Hardy, and you know what? He put Heath Ledger as the Joker, and he proved us all wrong. I'm willing to be open-minded about Harry Styles, because Christopher Nolan would not put the singer of One Direction into a World War II movie unless he had a pretty goddamn good reason, or at least I hope so, and he hasn't lost his damn mind. He's using all of the Christopher Nolan he thinks he can possibly do. He's using real naval destroyers for this movie because he's all practical. He ain't fucking around with this movie. I think it's going to get some big 2017 Oscar buzz. People will say, well, it's got a summer release, so it won't get Oscar buzz. Guess when Saving Private Ryan came out? July, same month Dunkirk is coming out. I'm stoked for this movie. I'm stoked just to see Christopher Nolan back on the big screen. I can't wait for this, and God, I hope it's amazing. So, that is it for my list. What did you guys think? What do you think I left out? What do you think shouldn't have been in here? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.